The name fits me well enough, the Skipper. I've always had a habit of charting courses into the unknown. Still, even I didn't expect my next voyage to begin with a coin album. My uncle passed. He left me what I thought was a modest collection, nothing extraordinary. Not at first glance, anyway. But tucked beneath a false bottom in his desk, I found something else. A device. Brass. About the size of a pocket watch. Warm, as if it's just been held. Instead of hours and minutes, the face had 3 small rotating dials labeled Denomination, Year, Mint. My uncle always had a flair for the unusual. Still, this was something else. There was a note folded beside it. Coins are time made tangible. This simply removes the middleman. I remember chuckling. All right, old man, let's see what you've got that you've left me. I set the dials. Peace dollar, 1922, Philadelphia. The moment I clicked the last dial into place, the air in my study shifted. You could feel it like the moment before a storm breaks. Then the space in front of me shimmered and opened. Not torn, not broken, just parted. A doorway. I stood there longer than I care to admit. Then I said the only thing that made sense. Well, no point collecting history if you won't step into it, and I stepped through. The first thing that hit me was the noise. Streetcars rattling along tracks. Car horns. Older, rougher ones. Voices everywhere, but none of them hurried the way they are now. The air carried the smell of coal, oil, and industry. I turned slowly, taking it all in. Philadelphia, 1922. Across the street stood a landmark I recognized instantly from my years of reading and studying. Philadelphia City Hall, towering above everything like it owned the century. I let out a quiet breath. Right place, right time. But I wasn't there to sightsee. I adjusted my plaid shirt, thankfully plain enough not to draw attention, and started down the street. Shops lined the block. Tobacco, tailoring, and a modest general store with a bell over the door. Now that was my destination. Inside, the place smelled like old wood and honest work. Behind the counter stood a man with rolled sleeves and spectacles sliding down his nose. Afternoon, he said, giving me a measured look. What can I do for you? I'm looking for change, I told him. A silver dollar, if you've got one. He raised an eyebrow and depends on what you got to offer for it. Fair question. I reached into my pocket and pulled out a modern pen. Solid metal, well-balanced, nothing flashy, but far better than anything he'd seen. He turned it over in his hands, testing it. That's a fine piece, he said. It'll write smoother than anything in here, I said. He gave a half smile. All right, then. Then he leaned forward slightly and said, have a look under the counter there. I stepped around and crouched down. Sure enough, tucked beneath the counter was an old wooden chest, worn, scratched, the kind of thing that had seen years of quiet use. It looked kind of like a pirate's chest. I pulled it open and the coin shifted inside with a soft, familiar clink. I leaned in, and there it was. A 1922 piece dollar. Liberty's profile was strong, her hair flowing back like it was caught in a permanent wind. On the reverse, the eagle rested, calm, grounded, a coin born from a world that had seen too much war and wanted something better. I picked it up, turning it just enough to catch the light. This one, I said. Fair trade, he asked, tapping the pen against the counter. I nodded fair. We exchanged without another word. A few minutes later, I stood once again in front of that shimmering doorway. I took one last look at the street, the movement, the life, the world going on without me. Then I stepped through. Back in my study, the silence felt strange, too clean, too still. I set the coin under my lamp and turned it slowly between my fingers. And there you have it, I said out loud. More out of habit than anything else. A 1922 peace dollar straight out of circulation. I studied the details. This coin was introduced after the First World War, a symbol of peace, of hope, of a world trying to find its footing again. Philadelphia struck millions of them, but this one, I paused, smiling slightly. This one hasn't been clean, graded, or sealed away. I set it gently on my desk. It lived its life. My eyes drifted back to the brass device. I reached for it. I've got a feeling, I said to myself, already looking at turning the dials. This is just the beginning.